There is a notice board outside of Kirkall's chantry. Usually, the notes placed there were boring nonsense. But this one led me to the Prince of Starkhaven.
Sebastian! Stop this madness. The Chantry cannot condone revenge, Sebastian.
It is my right, my duty, to show these assassins there is nowhere in the Free Marches to hide.
This is murder.
No. What happened to my family was murder.
Sebastian's normally a good lad, but he's had a terrible shock.
Sebastian? Was that his name?
Sebastian Vale. He was affirmed here nearly a decade ago. He had just been invested as a brother when we got the news about his family. I'm afraid he reacted rashly, denied his vows and left the Chantry. If the Maker wills it, he will return to himself before it's too late.
So he's some kind of priest?
He is an initiate of the faith. As a man, he cannot serve as a mother would, but he has led the chant here many times. Before last week, I would have said he was the most faithful of our true believers.
He said someone murdered his family.
Sebastian is the youngest son of the ruling family of Starkhaven. They were overthrown recently, violently. Sebastian is the only surviving member.
He's royalty.
Prince Sebastian Vale, if he succeeds in his pledge to take back his lands. He made a vow to the Maker to put worldly concerns behind him. It is a sin to forswear himself for a mere title.
I think his family deserves to be avenged.
Sebastian would spend his coin to buy men's lives, the same as those who attacked his family. No matter how justified he feels, that is murder. But I'm sure he'll be pleased to speak with someone who disagrees.
So we went hunting. It turned out the assassins were common thugs. Hardly a challenge.
I'll deal with this. Now you fall!
How do you suppose the Quinari scratch their heads with those horns in the way?
Why do you think I would know?
Because you know lots of things. I wonder if they rub their heads against tree trunks like Hala do.
I'd pay a sovereign to see that.
No wonder they seem so cranky all the time.
One less to worry about.
That saber, it packs quite a punch.
Yes, but I don't like curved blades.
I'll get you good Witcher sword once we are back.
Anyways, with the thugs dead, we returned to the Chantry to collect the reward.
Miss me?
Sirrah Hawke, it is good to see you. The shame that Varnell brought his order is most unfortunate. Praise the Maker that you were his champion in that dark place.
No thanks to you, and you know it.
I gave you Varnell.
And a room full of zealots.
He recruited with the promise of Chantry blessing. You weren't going to argue them out of salvation. Varnell stepped too far. But the faithful know that eternity is at stake. Though there are, perhaps, better ways to go about it.
I can't let this go that easy.
Then we are destined to have this argument again. For now, I have made no criminal claims, and even your Viscount considers this matter closed. If he is good at anything, it is doing nothing. I hope you live a long life, Sirrah Hawke, because your judgment before the Maker will be harsh.
So, Will anyone smite me if I tell you I killed the men who wronged your family?
Mistress Hawke, but what? Are you saying you responded to my post on the Chanter's board? I thought for sure no one even read, but you say you've killed them. You have my eternal gratitude, Ciri. It is comforting to think my parents might now rest easily in their graves.
Who sent these mercenaries?
My family has ruled Starkhaven for 6 generations. We have enemies, but none who would identify themselves openly. A distant cousin of mine is claiming rulership now, but he is a bit simple. He can be no more than a pawn in this plot.
Surely you have a guess as to who was behind it.
My parents were always prudent in how they handled our nobles. They did not allow rivalries or resentments to flourish. The attack must have come from outside. Kirkwall is our largest trading partner. I came back here to find support for my claim, and perhaps for a clue as to who is behind this foul deed.
Why didn't your family's enemies hunt you down as well?
That's why I took the offensive. Thanks to you, those Flint Company assassins are no longer a danger. I'm the last of my line. Unless I survive, my family will have no justice.
Who are you exactly?
I am Sebastian Vale, Prince of Starkhaven. Her Grace might prefer I introduce myself as a brother in the Chantry, but I could not stay after what happened to my family.
Isn't that where the Circle Tower just burned down?
Yes. I believe that was part of the same strike against my family. In one instant, we lost our mages, our Templars, everyone my parents used to call on for protection.
Your letter spoke of a reward.
Consider this in advance. When I have secured my lands again, you will be paid royally. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must meet with the Viscount and petition him for aid to a fellow city. I thought it would end here. That young lady, Hawke, she decimated Flint Company. No survivors. Yet, now that I know who sent them, it's harder to see their deaths as justice.
Death is never justice.
Hawke? We were just talking about you.
Carry on. I love to eavesdrop.
Hawke said sarcastically.
You know, I hate it when you do that.
Hawke muttered in an angry aside to the dwarf.
If, you two have a moment, I've learned who hired Flint Company. The Harrimans, a noble family of Kirkwall. They were my parents' allies. It's hard to believe they betrayed us like this.
Tell me about this family.
Lord Harriman used to be a good man, but he became rather strange in his dotage. He died some years back. His daughter took over the family, Lady Johanne Harriman. They say she's become quite reclusive of late.
Any idea why they turned on you?
Money? Power? It's hard to say. Lady Harriman was always jealous of my family for being royalty when hers were mere nobility. But I can't imagine that pushing her into outright murder.
They should pay for their crimes.
Unless I understand why they did this, any revenge I take will be hollow. I must speak with Lady Harriman and find out what drove her to this madness. But I am the last of my line. I should not go alone and make myself a target.
Fine. But don't think you're my top priority.
Thank you, Hawke. Having you by my side will stay anyone's hand.
And so we went after the Harrimans.
I notice you talk about vulgar things quite a bit.
Do you want me to stop? Do I make you uncomfortable?
It was just an observation, really.
It's a bad habit I picked up spending years with foul-mouthed pirates. Pirates only care about a small number of very specific things. The sea, strong drink, and booty. Both kinds.
Your armor is very shiny, Sebastian. Doesn't that make you an easier target?
The light of the Maker is my armor, Meryl. I'm not afraid.
Maybe you could ask him to make his light less shiny? Then you wouldn't need as much armor.
That's strange. The door's wide open, and not a single guard posted. This is not the Lady Harriman I remember. There is something very wrong in here.
More! You lazy son of a bitch! What's taking so long?
Flora?
Why does no one in this house care what I want? More wine, or I swear I will drown you in the dregs.
She doesn't even see us. This is no normal wine.
More logs. It must be molten. You, more coins. I want every scrap of gold in this house.
Please, monsieur!
There's nothing to fear. You'll be beautiful. Pour it over her.
Don't! You'll kill her! He can't hear me.
Perhaps I should be the one.
We must end this madness. I visited this house often as a child. They could not have concealed such goings-on.
Oh, lower, lower.
I beg your pardon, Hawke. I did not mean to expose you to such things.
No apologies necessary. What are they even doing? The Thalanast!
No, the feather. Use the feather. Where have you been all my life? Today, I am more than a man. Come, felicitate me.
That's a great line. I should use that. Oh, I could get it embroidered on my blouse.
He has no idea we're here. I've known Ruxton Harriman my whole life. He's a complete prude.
That's my kind of prude.
Where's your brother? Let's ask him to join us.
Turn back. There is nothing here for you.
Odd. When we watched you being a drunken ass, you ignored us completely.
You shall not enter.
Demonic possession has to be, after all you told me about this place.
Of course it was. And we soon found the source of the problem.
A ruin, so close to Hightown. I remember no such thing.
Elven ruins, looks like.
Yes, it turned out Kirkwall was built on elven bones, literally. And of course, by now, the place was crawling with wraiths.
Starkhaven will not submit. I put that idiot Goran Vale into the Prince's seat, but the other families won't heed him. I must marry him to Flora and solidify our hold. But I need more power.
I've given you much. Your desires run deep. You've already traded your husband and your children. What more can you offer?
Your plot ends here.
Who is this? Who are you? How did you get here? Sebastian!
You were my mother's friend. How could you murder her?
Such an ugly word. I prefer remove the only obstacle between her and her dreams.
This was your idea.
I could create such desires if I wished. But it's far easier to nurture those that already exist. The desire for power is easy to find. You and your friend both possess it, do you not? You both wish to rise.
I will hear no more from you.
Let us return to the Chantry. I must pray for Lady Harriman's soul.
Sebastian, I am so sorry is such an inadequate word. When I think what Mother made us do, what those creatures made us do.
We were friends, Flora.
It was like a cloud came down on me. All I could feel or think was what the demon allowed.
Was your mother a mage? How did she find this demon?
We've never had magic in our line. Perhaps that made Mother too confident. She thought she could deal with the demon and not fall prey to it. Those ruins there were unearthed when we expanded the house. Mother found the demon inside. I think she had signed her bargain before we even knew.
Did your mother order the attack on Sebastian's family?
She did. You know Mother, Sebastian. She was always jealous of your parents. The demon twisted that until it was all she could think of. She was determined to seize Starkhaven for herself.
They're all dead. Your mother, too.
My mother has not existed for some time. What died today was only a puppet of the demon. If it takes every last coin my family owns, I will make reparations to everyone we've wronged. Starting with you, Sebastian. We weren't the only ones vying for Starkhaven. If you face more opposition, you have my support.
It will not make up for what happened.
No, that's true.
I'll tell you when I need you. I had hoped prayer might cleanse me of the Desire Demon's touch, but I still hear her voice so clearly. I feel like I've bathed in filth that will never come off.
Wash behind the ears. Evil usually gets stuck there.
The demon didn't lie. I used to be bitterly jealous of my brother. I wanted to be Prince. Now everything he had is mine. And he lies in ashes. I keep asking myself, do I want this because it's right? Or simply to have what I never thought I could?
Aren't you your parents' heir?
I'm the youngest son of 3. My parents were rather traditional. They wanted the heir and the spare, and I was left in the cold. They put me in the Chantry to prevent my competing with my brothers.
You seem very dedicated to the Chantry. You were put there against your will?
At first. But it was the best thing that could have happened. I was a wild boy, a shame to my family. The Chantry made me a man. It's odd. When I wanted to rule, I would have been terrible at it. Now that I might be decent, I don't know if it's the right thing to do.
Don't let the demon make you doubt yourself.
In trying to retake Starkhaven, I have already brought death to so many. Could I ever do enough good as Prince to justify that?
You could be a just and fair ruler. Worry about reparations once you take your lands.
I know you've done great things in Kirkwall, Hawke. I imagine your methods haven't always been scrupulous. But you clearly do more good than harm. I just don't know if I can follow that road.
I think this is yours.
My grandfather's bow, but where did you get it?
One of the Flint Company men did some looting. I figured I'd return the favor.
Thank you. It's hard to mourn the loss of a thing while my family lies dead. But I did think of it.
What's the story behind that, Bo?
As the youngest son, it was my place to lead Starkhaven's militia. But I never had a talent for swordplay. Too much getting hit. My grandfather said the bow is the wise man's weapon. You can defend your city without opening its gates. Grandfather said the day I could pull the string on his bow, it would be mine.
Then why didn't you have it with you?
I was 13 when my grandfather made me that promise. I would rise at dawn to practice my shots until I could hit the eye slit of a helmet from the top of the ramparts. But my parents pledged me to the Chantry before I could show him.
Were you and your grandfather close?
He was a man of the world, Prince of Starkhaven. But he had the most unshakable faith in the Maker. When my parents threatened to pledge me to the Chantry, he told me he'd gladly trade his title for a life of contemplation. The Maker ordained a place for each of us, I remember him saying. We have only to serve.
Think of them with every arrow you fire to retake your land.
Yes, this will be a fitting weapon to carry against the usurpers. Thank you for thinking of me, Hawke.
The prince, did he get his city back?
I don't know. I have never seen him again. But I didn't spend much time in that temple anyway. However, Varric composed some poem about the heroine of Kirkwall and the Lost Prince. I told him that Sebastian would be beneath my status because I am already the lost heiress to an empire.
What did Varric say?
That I have to work on my stories. They are full of old stereotypes, and that you cannot have two lost princes in one story. Whatever. Who wants a 30-year-old virgin who is afraid of blades anyway?